Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Brothers Grime podcast. And now, your hosts, Brandon and Randall Witherspoon. Enjoy the show.
And we're live.
Feels good to be live.
Yeah. Alive. A life. I'm a life. Therefore, I'm alive. Otherwise, I wouldn't be much of a life. Wouldn't be very lively either.
Leaving a living, breathing entity.
Yes, indeed. So, how was your week, man? Crazy?
Crazy. Definitely crazy.
Mine too.
Yeah. We won't even go there.
Nope. Don't even know why I brought it up.
No.
It is, in fact, the weekend now, so sort of. Still feels like the week, though.
Yeah. And so in lieu of everything that's been going on, I guess this show once again is dedicated to Randall.
Yeah, every single one until he's back.
Gotta be. Yep. I agree.
So, bringing any interesting topics to the table today? Put you on the spot, man.
It's funny you should say that.
I like the way this is going already. It's okay to laugh. You can still laugh in the mic. That's part of what makes you great, man. Laugh. Laugh, damn you. Yes. Get it out, man.
Jeez.
So what do you got, man? Lay it on me. Now he won't stop laughing. God damn it, what have I done? No. We're recording.
Oh, no.
It's too late. I'm not cutting anything.
My voice will go up and down.
Oh, my God. It's a great day to be alive, folks. Oh, man. Yep. It's the freest form of expression. He won't stop now. We're fucked. Oh, man.
Like a
he doesn't even know what he's
12-year-old
laughing
that hasn't
at.
reached puberty yet.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Oh, mother of God. So, anyway, in all seriousness.
Crying.
Or lack thereof.
Okay, in all seriousness. Let's go serious or not so serious? Let's go light.
We'll go light. So not so serious.
Okay, I've got a great topic.
Lay it on me.
Our love for music. You played a show last night, sat in for Randall.
Yeah.
Went good?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it was cool.
Great. I got up this morning, picked around on the mantle a little bit, sitting out on the front porch, and just started thinking about music in general. And, something I've often wondered is, what do you think was the first musical instrument?
Oh, wow.
Ever created?
I'm sure we have record of the first, the oldest musical instrument, or what we believe to be a musical instrument. I'm sure there's you could Google it right now and figure out what, the scientific community thinks,
Right. Here comes the old eye twitch thing again.
Oh, that sucks. But, I don't know, man. Probably some sort of percussion, I would assume. Somebody hit something.
That's what I'm
with something
thinking.
else. I mean, we don't know. We're just assuming. But yeah, I mean, think about it. Somebody had to hit something, and they're like, oh, that made a cool sound, and so they did it again, and they were like, oh, that sounded cool, and then they hit something else, and then they just started hitting shit all the time, man. They're just like,
actually,
the first drummer was born.
Yeah, first drummer. And
that's why they make fun of drummers as like cavemen.
Musical instruments. I mean, drums were used to communicate.
Yeah. Like war
where
drums
did the music
and stuff. Yeah.
come in? Where did music come from?
Okay, like musical notes, like you're talking about.
Yeah, and where did music is inspired. Music is created. Music.
It's probably a woodwind instrument then, a flute or something along those lines, like an ancient Indian.
Where did the whole concept?
The concept of music.
The human's mind.
Who knows?
And then what was the first instrument?
Nobody would know that.
Well, of course nobody knows that. That's why it's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, this is a topic that people can think about and wonder and have their own input. Okay, so if you break it down to what was the first... Well, we've already broken into so many different facets already.
Right.
What was the first musical instruments, and then where did music even
That's
come
what you asked
from?
me. What was the first musical instrument, not the concept of music? Those are two totally different beginnings.
Actually, you have to think about it, though, because
the musical concept would come before the instrument, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not.
No, it would have to, because
maybe they were listening to birds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that concept came, and then they designed an instrument.
Right.
So the musical concept came first.
I mean, that would be...
It almost had to.
That would be my my best guess. A bird. I mean, they make the closest thing to music you'll hear in nature.
Well,
you know,
I mean, how many times do you go out?
birds sing, man.
You lay on the beach, the waves are making music. Hey, you're in the country, camping in the mountains. The breeze is making music.
Right.
The birds are making music. The trees are creaking. The winds are howling. The owls are hooting. So all these things are going on. The human mind is magnificent. It orchestrates all these things and says, that is music. That's beautiful. I mean, that is very relaxing, meditative, all natural music. But that's not an orchestrated series of tones to create something that's pleasing to the ear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who came up with that? You know what? It just hit me. We're talking about musical instruments. You know what the first musical instrument is? It's right there. It's right there. Obvious. The human voice. That's the first musical instrument.
Oh, yeah.
Done. It's over.
For sure.
Next topic.
Vocal cords.
Absolutely, it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Randall. Spare me the whatever that was. The fit you just threw. Have you had your medicine?
No.
Okay. Anyway, you totally threw me now. I was on to something big. And that was talking about the human voice. I know Randall knows this. Randall's heard me say this many a times. That I believe the greatest musical instrument ever created was the human voice. How many times? Have you ever heard me make that quote before?
Well, sure.
I've made many quotes. But that's one of them. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about it.
Some are capable of making beautiful sounds. Others, like mine, not so much.
Right. But, think about it. It's a magnificent.
It is.
It's one thing to make music by playing an instrument. It's making the sound. But when you're making the sound yourself,
mm-hmm.
your vocal cords are vibrating. You're just from air blowing across them.
Right.
You're able to modulate all these different tones. But then you have to have this thought of something that sounds pleasing or a message you're trying to get across to someone through singing.
Yeah, I mean, the first person to ever sing something had to have been inspired from something else.
Well, now keep that thought. Think about a lot of civilizations passed down their
information via
stories, by singing. Yeah. Their whole
But
lineage.
who was the first person to do that?
Well,
back up a second and say who was the first person to sing something.
Well, okay.
To put something together in a melodic way and sing
no
a
one's
song.
going to know who the first person is,
no. But where did they get that idea from?
Well, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about the first person that ever sang, then it's going to go all the way back to where did man originate, and if he originated in Africa or in the Middle East somewhere, near Egypt, Africa, somewhere right in there, the cradle of civilization, if that's where he came from, then it may have been someone with African genealogy or Middle Eastern that was passing down information, stories of their heritage on down. And many cultures do that. I mean, Native Americans did it, Eskimos, the Jewish people that we were talking about.
Where did they get the idea?
Definitely.
Like, they heard like a bird singing a tune, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's what comes to my head. Like, you hear a bird like singing some tune that's kind of catchy and you remember that. And so then you
absolutely.
Like, wow, that was easy to remember, and then maybe you put in some words that you want other people to remember to a catchy tune like that, and so it began, or maybe something like that. But who knows?
No, but
we
think
could
about
talk
it.
About that forever.
So we've already narrowed it down to the first musical instrument is probably the voice.
For
obviously.
Sure. Had to
be, because that's all they had.
Yep.
You don't have anything. Right. You hear something beautiful. It pops in your mind because you have this magnificent mind that's computing.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been pure creativity, out of the brain.
It absolutely was.
I guess they didn't necessarily have to hear a tune beforehand.
No, they didn't hear a tune, but well, they did hear a tune that was. I mean, think about it. We talked about the noises, the natural wind and waves and things like that would create noises, but all of the other animals that make noises, some of them are very melodic. So a songbird is very melodic.
Right.
A wolf howling in the distance gives you this feeling sound. He's definitely modulating this pitch through the air. That's not like a branch breaking or a wind through pines or surf crashing on. It's more of a modulating note that a human being with this magnificent computer mind that he has hears this and says, that's nice. Hey, I can imitate that. And then he starts doing it, and then he realizes that maybe it's a male and the female enjoys that, and he thus the first love song. Maybe he's getting a message across to her in a way. Things like that.
Caveman loving, man.
Yeah, man. You gotta,
what else are you gonna do?
In a cave. Think about it. Populate. That's what's on your mind.
Yeah, man. Yeah, cool. So we figured that out. The human voiced the vocal cords first instrument ever played by a human.
Okay.
The instrument resided in said human.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And I think it's the greatest instrument, as I've said, because there are people that can hit amazing range.
Oh, indeed.
And strength, and there's even some people that can hit 2 notes at once.
I've heard
maybe
that.
more. I don't know.
I've heard that. Yeah, it's great. When you listen to somebody who has a truly naturally wonderful voice. It's a very pleasant sound. Of course, obviously. But yeah. So when you initially hit me with the question, I wasn't thinking that way. What you were trying to get at with the voice and everything, I was thinking about more of like a physical object outside of the human body.
And
the first instrument. So we can move on to that for sure. But yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. Definitely cool. And I agree for sure. So as far as first musical instrument that's a physical object that somebody created with their hands,
had to be a drum.
Had to be a drum. We agree. Yeah,
I agree because
for sure.
A stringed instrument had to come much later. Way later.
Yeah.
What are they going to get for strings? Vines? No, it's not going to work.
I'm sure that they were using. So I'm sure that they were using whatever they ended up using for strings as something else beforehand. You know what I mean? Like something like whatever it was.
Okay, the guy shoots his bow; it makes a noise.
Yeah, exactly.
So he says, "This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
If I tighten this bow up, it gets higher. If I loosen this bow up, it gets lower." So then he started thumping out a rhythm
the vibration
on
of the string.
The first bass.
Yeah, the first bass was a bow.
Bass. Dong, dong,
I bet
dong.
you it was, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
And some dude's beating on a drum. So we know that, so communication and everything comes into play. It's communication. So communication via music, or music would have been vocally modulating the pitch, obviously, but communication through rhythmic drums, because they carried and they could communicate long distances this way, or a voice could, in the right place, could also carry for a long, long time. They heard the thunder roll down through the canyons, and they knew. So they said, hey, if I get up here and make a noise, my buddy way 2 miles away is going to be able to hear me if I get in the right spot.
Get up on this mountain peak.
Yeah. But then drums carried even further.
For sure.
And then they used the drums for all kinds of communication. Yeah, so drums definitely are. If you, anything you read, the oldest writings that you could possibly read, somewhere in there, when they start talking about music or musical instruments, it's going to be drums.
Yeah, so they had the first instrument,
guaranteed,
the voice, the second instrument, the drums. Started using those together.
Right.
And they were probably satisfied with that for a long time.
Well, look at the Native Americans, drums and voice.
Yeah, that's all it was.
But look, now.
Did the bass come next?
Yeah. Well,
from shooting the bow?
Yeah, the bass bow.
Could have been like a 3-stringed bass or something.
What's so interesting, they use a bow on a bass to bow the bass.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah, but anyway.
No, I think probably like a flute.
Absolutely.
Because...
my thoughts exactly.
Yeah. And it could have been in some sort of Indian remote Indian tribe. Yeah, I know you love a flute for sure. There's one sitting right behind you, actually.
Yeah, it's actually a Native American
style flute. Yeah. So maybe it was like they later on they developed like these blowguns with darts and stuff that they were like shooting monkeys out of trees with, and they putting poison on the end of the dart, and maybe it made a sound through there. They were blowing through that, and they heard a cool sound, and they're like, "Oh, that's interesting," you know. Who knows, man? Maybe they had.
But think about it. So then you're saying the first air-powered instruments were conceived from something else, a tool or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably how a lot of it
then
was engineered.
Okay, so if you took that line of thinking, then different parts of the world, different instruments developed.
Well, of course.
So it wasn't
depended on where you were located. Yeah, I totally think that for sure. And that's why there's different styles of music everywhere, you know, because and different instruments, they're like bagpipes.
Well, here's an interesting thing now that my mind's working here. So we just mentioned different instruments around the world evolving
at different times.
But maybe not necessarily always at different times. Was there like a renaissance of the human mind that conceived this? Because the reason I think that is because, you know, I'm fascinated with the bow and arrow. I'm fascinated with archery.
Right.
Always have been. Yeah. And so I studied about archery, the roots of archery, as far back as it could possibly go. And did you know that the bow and arrow developed all over the world, the same basic tool, but it developed differently, okay, because different minds engineered it differently, and
they had different materials.
The different materials had a lot to do with how the bow is made.
Right.
But think, a lot of it was all developing at the same time.
Yeah, well, and I guess that's just human evolution, regardless of where they were located and whether they had any communication amongst each other.
Why would it just happen at the same time?
Well, it's just evolution, I guess.
And maybe it didn't. Maybe, you know, because, you know, I mean,
it probably wasn't exactly at the same time. It just depends on, it depends on it's just, who knows what causes us to evolve more quickly than other people or whatever, you know, and I mean, that's something,
topic.
Yeah, we can't even get into that, yeah. But yeah, it is interesting. And
I'm just curious if there was this, like I said, Renaissance type of, you know, because during the Renaissance period,
right,
all kinds of art happened at the exact same time.
It's because everyone was tripping balls on LSD.
From the rye stored in the...
For sure.
Yeah, no, we won't go there either.
No witch hunts today.
Well, and so, as I mentioned, my favorite instrument, all-time favorite instrument, the most, for many different reasons, for me, is the flute. What about you?
No, not the flute. It's not my favorite. I love the flute, though. I dig it. I would have to say the violin.
Almost choked on my coffee. The fiddle.
The fiddle.
The flute and fiddle.
Flute and fiddle.
That's the new show. Flute and fiddle.
Flute and fiddle. Yes. It produces a sweet, sweet sound that...
The devil's hot box.
Doesn't sound like anything else.
Only in the hands of a skilled professional.
Indeed.
Does it produce a sweet sound.
Otherwise, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, now that's interesting that you brought that up, because that is an extremely controversial instrument.
How so? Where does the controversy lie?
It's
just, it is what it is. How can it be controversial?
Well, it has such an eerie sound.
Yeah.
That, but you know, I absolutely love the fiddle too. I really think it's
it's fantastic.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I mean, that, gosh, I could go on forever about that. Always wanted to learn to play it.
Have you ever messed with one before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to own one.
So hard to play.
Yeah. I used to own one. But so now you've just jumped from drums as a form of communication, you know, the voice.
Yeah.
So we went from communication to like straight up music.
Entertainment, enjoyment.
Yeah. Right. and then
Possibly ritualistic.
Oh,
reasons.
definitely, for sure,
Yeah.
all of the above.
Shamanism and witch doctors, medicine man.
But we don't want to be thinking, just want to get fixated
just on the music.
Native American. I mean, to think all over
anybody
the whole.
for sure.
So, we're all these different forms of drums and timpani and everything that came from.
Yeah.
And then we've agreed that was probably the voice, the drums, and then some sort of wood or some sort of wind
instrument,
powered instrument.
More than likely woodwind.
Right.
What else were they going to use? Yeah.
Well, and the reason that I am so intrigued by the flute, because I'm very simplistic. I like to keep everything down to its basic form. Always have been. Doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
Doesn't matter if it's camping. I was one of those ultra light guys that had.
That's
I'm
you to a T.
minimalist. I'm a minimalist.
You are majorly.
I want a piece of string and a stick, and I'm going to go catch a fish or whatever. So let's keep it. So that's why I like handmade wooden bows and hand arrows and everything.
There's just so much character to something like that. I mean, they're so much cooler, and you can just appreciate the hard work that went into designing that and crafting it with your hands or whatever, and it's unique. And
today we're playing electric instruments, and there's electric guitars, and there's electric keyboards, and even things like synthesizers and all
which
this
I
kind
love,
of stuff.
all of those.
Yeah, but I like to go back to just the most simple form: a piece of wood and your breath.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something really cool about that, for sure.
Yeah, it's powered by your breath.
Yeah.
And it's just a piece of wood.
And that makes sense considering your favorite instrument was the voice. So
I wonder if before the flute was invented, they learned to whistle.
Possibly.
Like a bird.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then how did that ever translate into if I blow across this hole, it makes... Well, one thing that obviously comes to mind is if you've ever been camping in the woods, if you've ever heard the wind actually blow across a hollow tree and make a tone.
Make a sound like that.
Yeah, well, then there you go.
Sure.
If you've never...
There's so many places the inspiration could have come from, yeah.
Right.
But yeah. So what came next?
So if it went from voice drum, flute, for lack of a better, woodwind's way too broad.
Yeah.
To, because then when did the reed come into play?
Right.
Yeah.
Some sort of early
when a guy put two
flute.
pieces of grass together and blew across them and made a noise.
Probably.
That's where a reed came from. How they ever came up with the concept, I mean, who would know? And then on to, that's not even to mention like brass instruments. The trumpet. Okay, so like the trumpet is super old.
Right. Oh, I know.
But
we're talking about way before that.
Well, think about the trumpet. That goes way, way, way back. But guess what? Not before the age of metal.
Nope.
Okay, so it's not as old as a flute.
Nope.
Couldn't be.
No possible way.
It certainly isn't as old as a drum. Because all they
Absolutely
needed was
not.
a hollow tree to beat on.
Anything. You can beat on anything and make a noise.
Have you ever beat on a hollow tree as a kid?
Yeah.
Come on. Have you ever? Okay. The first drummer was a woodpecker. You hear it?
Possibly, yeah.
You can hear a pileated woodpecker.
Some sort of
pecking on a tree from a long ways away. You think, how is that even possible? It's a tree. It is extremely loud and carries.
It resonates for sure.
Yeah,
it's hollow. Of course,
how is that possible?
Yeah.
So then, where did
stringed instruments?
Well, so if you go from a wind-blown instrument, so we're going to say the flute, to stringed instruments. I mean, what would, in your mind, would be the next logical?
You already said it. The bow. That's where they got the idea from. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, I did say that.
Yeah.
So they had this wood instrument.
Every time you release the string of the bow and send an arrow downrange.
Well, and think about it. So a musical instrument was evolving at the same time. This tool. A lot of people call them weapons.
Right.
They were a tool that can be used as a weapon.
I agree with that.
So when
it was a tool before it was ever a weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know. It was used to kill animals. So.
Well, yeah. Well, whatever you
Anyway.
want to call it.
So as he
And
was
when I was saying weapon, I was,
all right. So as this tool, this bow, was evolving and being perfected, and as whoever was doing this realized, as they were tightening the tension on the string and they were getting more velocity, the tone every time they released arrow went up.
Mm-hmm.
And so as he was adjusting, taking the string off, twisting it tighter, putting it on, plucking it, taking the string off, tightening it, putting it on, plucking it again, and again, and again, he realized this tone is changing.
Mm-hmm.
And not only am I increasing my velocity and making my bow better, I'm kind of digging this tone it's making.
Mm-hmm.
It must have.
It was
what
probably
else could it possibly
so.
come from?
So it was probably like the firstborn son that was out there stringing up the bow, and he was like, big and strong, and like the prized youth of the tribe, and he was like the best hunter, and then like he's like tightening his bowstring, and then like the little skinny brother who sucked at hunting and weighed like 100 pounds was like, listening to his older brother, and he's like, oh man.
Yeah, adjusting the tension.
He's the guy who noticed the tone change, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, yeah, go over there and shoot your freaking, bison. I'm gonna go over here and play with this string and this bow for a little bit, and that's probably who it was. Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, and he realized that he could modulate the tension of the bow without having to take the string off,
right,
and twist it just by flexing. The bow.
By flexing.
Thus,
the
he's
bow.
got the
No
modulating
matter how you do
tone.
it, yeah, sure.
So he was grooving with the cave chicks
He sure was, man.
while Big Brother was out hunting,
Yeah.
bringing home the meat.
Yep. He was keeping the meat home. Oh my god.
Man.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I would say that is probably the most logical explanation as to how they discovered that. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways, but that would definitely make sense to me and jumps out to me when I think about how did somebody invent, a stringed instrument? Yeah, the bow, man.
Okay, so
because the bow's ancient as well.
So you think that it went from voiced to drum to flute to a stringed instrument?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
what stringed instrument?
The earliest possible type of guitar, maybe. Voice might not have...
Well, they know what the oldest stringed instrument. If they go back to the old, like the lute,
yeah,
and different things like that. Someone took it above and beyond that first conception of the tightening the string changes the tone. I mean, and someone actually had to develop it into more than one string.
Yeah, I mean, somebody probably just took like
a way to
a piece of wood, like a rectangular piece of wood, and just like stretched a string across it and started plucking it. And then they added another one and made it tighter or looser and started plucking it so they could get multiple different tones out of it,
Yeah,
and then somebody was like, well, this is very loud, and so they had to figure out a way to make it resonate. And, like you said, the influence from wind blowing through hollow logs, woodpeckers, that kind of stuff. I mean, who knows? But it was some sort of stringed instrument. I don't even know if you could call it a bass or you could call it a guitar, but it was a stringed instrument. So that's where the birth of stringed instruments came from. And then they evolved from there as, the human evolution process did and as technology evolved and so on and so forth.
Right,
I'm just trying to figure out they
would already have tunes in their head too because they've already been singing.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to try to
replicate those on
the same tone that they're singing. The first, the frequency that they're singing at whatever, whatever note they happen to be singing, they're going
Not
to.
That they know it because they haven't developed.
No, but they realize that if I try to sing like that bird and I model my voice and try to hit the same frequencies that the bird's hitting, on a different, obviously a different. What do you call it? Octave, obviously much, I don't think anyone could sing as high as a bird, but they were trying to hit
Probably
that
not.
Same frequency and realized they were kind of matching or whatever, so then they had something to adjust the string to.
Right.
Otherwise, you would have just had an instrument that was not in tune with the voice at all.
Right. Yeah, well, of course.
But see, the human mind is so smart
Mm-hmm.
that it was zeroing in on that stuff.
Well, it was the same thing as like when they made the flute. If that did come before the stringed instrument, maybe it was the other way around. Who knows? But that's all they were trying to do. They were already singing. They already had melodies and tunes in their mind, and so they tried to put those into, whatever it was that they were using, at the time, whether it was a flute or, the earliest of stringed instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, who knows which one came first? But yeah, I think it's cool to think about how it maybe came to be originally. It's a pretty cool conversation. Yeah, it's interesting stuff, man.
And then, so humans invented music,
Right.
or did nature invent music?
Oh, well, I mean, that's kind of could be a circular question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically what we're saying, what we just did.
What is
essentially,
music?
What is music?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what is music?
What is music?
Sounds.
Is it the sound of the wind blowing through the trees, or is it somebody singing? What's music?
No, I think music is...
Music made by humans, made up music?
Almost anything
or
can
nature
be
made up
music.
That was the question.
Well, yeah, that's a hard one to answer because, I mean, humans created what we know as music, right? And if you ask somebody what music is, they're going to say their favorite artist,
Yeah,
What do you mean, what's music? Jimmy Buffett. No, but yeah. So,
Not
I mean,
mine.
so, I'm sure that the human mind was influenced by sounds it heard in nature, probably, like we already talked about, birds, so on and so forth.
Agreed.
They tried to replicate that by doing so with their voice.
Agreed.
When they did that, they just created music. But nature was creating it long before man, right? So I guess nature created music, if you will, sounds.
And the human is a naturally artistic creation.
Right.
So with this magnificent mind that we have, we're thinking thoughts that no other animal has. So we're putting... Absolutely.
Maybe.
Not maybe.
You don't know.
I know.
No, you don't know.
I do know.
Nope, you do not know.
We are thinking thoughts that no other animal has, period.
As far as you know.
Animals don't write music. Animals don't write poetry. Animals don't paint pictures.
As far as you know. Whoa. You might want to drop that back.
What?
Animals do paint pictures.
What kind of pictures do animals paint?
All kinds. Chimpanzees, man.
What do they paint?
We're not going to get into it, but you look them up. Look
You
up
give
the
them a
chimpanzees.
crayon,
Look
and
up
they
the
scribble.
ritualistic behavior that they've been doing. No, they do more than scribble, man. Hey, man, there's art down at the art gallery in downtown D.C. that looks like somebody just took up a bunch of paint on a brush and started scribbling, and it's like $5 million. But anyway, we'll skip
research
on
this.
this. Yeah, no. Yeah, as far as you know, and I'm cool with that. As far as you know.
As far as I know.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway, with this magnificent mind
I will agree that
that
it
the
is.
humans have, they think about things and then express those feelings into art,
Yes.
whether it be music or painting or whatever the art may be. They're able to do all kinds of intricate things and figure out things, intricate knots and intricate weavings and intricate, mosaics and just all kinds of, not to mention, mathematics and everything that the human brain can totally conceive. But if you just, boil it straight down to just music, it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and we were talking about a lot of the innovations being fueled by like survival, which obviously is true. But I'm sure that there was a lot of creativity going on in the downtime.
Artistic creativity.
Yeah, artistic creativity. Not necessarily like when we're talking about the bow or whatever. I'm just saying there was probably a lot of inventions musically just by people sitting around a campfire at night doing whatever.
Well, think about it for a minute. Really, how many different? If you had to do this, we probably can't do it right now. But if you thought about it, and maybe you could, maybe it's very simple. How many different types of instruments are there? I mean, there's like air-driven instruments.
Okay,
so that covers a huge spectrum.
Yeah.
There's stringed instruments. That covers another huge spectrum. And there's, drums.
Yeah.
Rhythm instruments.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the basic categories, right? Is there any possible thing that I missed?
No. You're either hitting something, plucking
something,
something,
we can't even go
blowing
into
something.
electronics. Just forget that.
Right, yeah.
That's way too beyond.
Yeah.
Talk about
Rudimentary.
Yes. Simplified. Voice.
Yeah, well, that's
voice.
I mean, that's kind of a combination, though, right? Because
it's air,
but it's not an
air
instrument.
Well, I mean, okay, it's
is.
not a fashioned instrument.
Correct.
It's a instrument you're born with.
Yeah.
So
Man didn't create vocal cords,
no.
so we're not going to include that.
You would have to include vocal because there's total choral music.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you've got vocal.
But it's a mixture of, it's air driven, but it's vibration of vocal cords. So you have two different things going on there.
Yeah, and then the whole whistling thing.
Yeah,
and
whistling.
Listening to the birds, and that just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Right.
But yeah, so any one of those, the voice being the simplest, there's a lot of different types of singing, but it's all just singing.
Right.
There's lots of different types of air-driven instruments, and they're all different. The flute, simply blown across a hole. The brass instruments are blown into a mouthpiece. They're buzzed. The reed instruments.
It's kind of similar to a vocal cord, right?
Similar. Yeah, it's all vibration. So, and then,
so that's what sound is.
Yeah. So, and then the reed instruments.
Yeah.
And what other wind instruments are there besides flute, brass, and reeds? Is there any other wind instrument?
I don't think so. I mean, there probably are. You have like those
not
digidarios or whatever they are.
instruments.
What the heck are those things?
Yeah, and see, that was exactly the Aborigines. They communicated with this.
Yeah.
But they also used it in music.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, and that's a form of the first flute.
Yeah, that's just a wind-driven instrument. If I'm
absolutely
correct, there's no other. Yeah, that's all it is. You blow into it.
Totally cool.
Yeah.
And I had already thought of those earlier, but I didn't mention them.
I know.
Yeah. Very.
I think that was Australia. They tracked
way
it
down
back
under.
to
You got to figure that was the first air-driven instruments, probably.
Yeah.
Whereas in North America, they had wooden flutes.
Oh, didgeridoo. That's what it's called. Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
Yeah, for sure.
Didgeridoo.
What the hell did I call it? Digidario.
Digidario.
Didgeridoo. Yeah,
Digidario.
It's popped into my head. So anywho.
So the correct pronunciation is didgeridoo. Along with the beloved gumleaf and bull roar.
Neat.
Yeah.
Geeking out on me over here, man.
Definitely. Cheated a little bit. But yeah.
Your egghead is growing.
I've got my geek glasses on.
Oh,
ready
you do.
to roll.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I can't see a thing through them, except up close. All right. So, and we beat that topic to death.
Pretty much.
Great topic, though, music. It'll always be a musical topic or something like that with us. Speaking of which, shout out to Brandon. Brandon Witherspoon, you. Happy birthday, son.
Hey, thanks. It
Brandon's
is my birthday.
Yes.
The big 2-8, man.
Big 2-8.
28.
To be 28 again. I'm double that age.
Yeah.
Woo. I've lived 2 of your lives, son.
I'm sorry.
It almost killed me.
No,
all right.
Man.
Yeah, happy birthday. And I got you a really cool gift.
You did?
I did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Haven't given
you
it to
didn't
you
have to do
yet.
that?
No, I know I didn't have to. Taking you out to lunch today.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Actually, Hayden's paying for that.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Where are we going?
It's a Nepalese restaurant.
A Nepalese.
Nepalese. It's like a Nepalese Indian fusion, actually. And it's a really cool restaurant. They have like wild artwork up all over the restaurant. And the owner I met the last time I was there, a really cool dude, friendly, indeed.
Well, sounds like an interesting combination of food and
you know it's going to be spicy.
An interesting atmosphere.
Yeah, that's cool. I always run into people I know there too, for some reason.
It's a small town.
Yeah, it's probably the reason. And yeah, man, that's so like Indian food is definitely my favorite type of food. Period.
Really?
Absolutely. Have just developed a
Where
real
that
love
comes
for
from.
it. The just amazing blend of spices that they use, and it's just a fantastic plethora of flavors in my mouth every time I eat it. And I love spicy food, and they eat typically pretty spicy food in that region of the world.
Well, now if you were to ask me that, I'd have to say that one of my favorite foods is Peruvian.
Yeah.
Another amazing blend.
That Peruvian chicken dough.
Oh, there's so much that you could talk about, and from both places. But I'm starting to develop I'm starting to develop more of a love for Indian food. From just going out and eating and trying the different stuff with you.
Yeah.
So, of course, the first thing I ever had was curry.
Mm-hmm.
And I like curry a lot. I like that spice. And I ventured out one time to get some curry because I wanted to cook at home. And went into oddly enough, okay, so curry is a whole topic, right, from all over. So you're talking Indian curry.
There's all kinds, man.
There's
Jamaican
all kinds.
curry.
But the first curry that I was introduced to, well, I probably had some Indian curry somewhere. But when I actually went out to buy the dry curry spice, I found myself in this halal meat place. Of all places.
Don't find that hard to believe.
Pakistan, whatever. But the guy there, this big turban, okay, he's wearing this big turban, leads me over, directs me to all the different curries they have. I come home with a couple of different curries. And you know what my favorite was out of those curries?
What?
Was the Iranian.
Iranian. Never had it, man.
Yeah. So
I've had Afghan food, and I really, really like that a lot.
Yep.
So I'm assuming it's probably pretty similar.
Yeah, I would say it just had an interesting flavor. And but I'm sure you've read the ingredients in curry. It's like Old Bay. It's full of all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's not just a spice. It's a combination of spices.
Yeah, I mean, if you go and buy, like, curry powder, just
That's what
curry
I'm talking
powder,
about, straight up curry
from,
powder.
like, anywhere. Martin's or Giant or wherever you
Or
shop.
halal.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. There's cardamom. There's, just a list of, it's just a conglomeration of many spices that make up traditional curry or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
and it differs depending on the
region to region. Yeah, they add things or take things away or whatever was available to them, I guess,
Yeah, so my first thought of Indian food is everything's going to taste like curry,
Right.
I'm thinking.
Which is not true.
No, it's not true. But
It may smell like it when you walk in, but
yeah,
don't let
because
that
it has a
fool you.
pungent aroma that's going to just
Make you starving.
fill the air. Definitely. What's interesting, though, one of my favorite herbs is cilantro. And so, the first exposure to cilantro, I guess, would have been in South American, Mexican.
Yeah, Mexican
food. But then it's used all over.
Oh, it is, yeah, and Indian food, and I mean, I'm amazed as to the use of cilantro. It's used all over the place.
Right.
Like you
So
said.
that Peruvian food I was talking about, cilantro.
Mm-hmm.
And the Indian food had cilantro in it, much to my amazement. And Asian food.
Oh, yeah.
Cilantro.
Yeah, like Asia is
The stuff must grow all over the world.
I know what you mean when you say Asian food. Yeah, it must, man. It must.
Like Vietnamese food.
Oh, yeah, it's even in Thai food and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, cilantro is widely used.
Yeah. But think about it. That's a totally different continent.
Yeah.
It must grow all over. That's something we'll have to look up. Cilantro, where does it grow?
South America and Asia, apparently.
It grows all over. They use it. Good stuff.
Yeah, it is amazing. Cilantro is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love food, by the way, of all kinds. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I just, in recent years, maybe the past, 5 to 8 years, I've found myself eating pretty much anything other than traditional American food. It's like I'm just totally sick of it. Like once in a while, but I try to eat like unique places that I,
What do you try to
haven't
eat?
been eating my whole life.
Was it spurred on by trying to eat healthy, or just
Well, yeah, it kind of was really that, and just curiosity for tasting different food, because a lot of a lot of Indian places and any type of cuisine from continent of Asia, they use a lot of vegetables, a lot of vegetarian diet
Right.
over there. I mean, they eat a lot of meat too. They have goat, and and they incorporate seafood into it as well, and that kind of stuff depending on where it's at. But yeah, I guess it kind of was. And yeah, it definitely is a good place to go if you do, eat like a vegetarian diet or something, because there's a lot of options there for you. But yeah, it's just some really good stuff. I really like food from Thailand a lot too.
Yeah, so I don't believe I've ever been in a Thai restaurant.
You have. I've taken you to.
Did we?
Yeah, downtown, Old Town Winchester Thai. I took you there once.
Did we? What did I have?
I don't know. You got some kind of soup. And you got some kind of like drink, some kind of like special drink that they serve there too. You had that.
Thai tea?
Yeah, it might have been.
You get Thai tea.
Yeah.
In Asian restaurants.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. I like that green curry from there. Green curry is pretty cool. Have you ever had that?
Well, yeah, I got to sample the lunch buffet.
Yeah, they have like the green curry, the red curry, the yellow curry, I think.
Extremely hot curry.
And everyone likes, like the pad thai and those kind of dishes too are really popular. I'm not big on those.
The thing I like about it, that there's such a variety of flavors, as opposed to, not busting on like Chinese food or something. But, there's some Chinese food that I do like a lot and everything, but a lot of that seems to...
A lot of salty soy sauce type of...
tastes the same, too. It seems to me.
Yeah.
But, I could be wrong. I used to love Chinese food, and I kind of got burned out on it. I liked...
A guy I know, he's married to a Chinese lady, and I told him I didn't really care for Chinese food, and he was like, well, it's because you've never had it, man. I was like, how do you know? He's like, have you ever been to China? I'm like, nope. He's like, you've never had Chinese food. He argues that you can't get it here.
I believe it. Because the very best Chinese restaurants that I've been to, there is a big difference between that and some of the others. And, if you zeroed in on, Szechuan or, what's the other one I would like? Hunan.
Mm-hmm.
So the different provinces, and you'd have the different flavors.
Yeah.
And, then you could start getting some variety. But if you just go to the run-of-the-mill Panda Express and get, it all tastes like General Tso's. You know what I mean?
It's not even MSG coated chicken or whatever.
Sweet,
stuff
sour,
that make cardboard taste good.
Salty, whatever.
And then if we jump over to like Japan, we were on a sushi kick for a long time, man. Remember I got you into it?
Only
took you to get some sushi.
So it's really actually not sushi then. I guess.
It's like sushami or whatever is the raw stuff. But yeah, sushi's good. Like the smoked salmon and
tuna,
different vegetables. Yeah, sushi. I haven't had it in a long time, man. It's been a long time since I had sushi. I have been too recently,
but I just don't want to eat anything raw.
No, I don't either. But I love smoked salmon. I love salmon. I love fish in general. Fish is fantastic, man.
Fish is great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this restaurant then.
Yeah,
we're starving to death.
Psyched, yeah.
If you can't tell.
Yep. Yeah. So food. Let's jump back to like caveman times with food, real quick. So like.
I haven't been
talking
to any
about
caveman
food.
restaurants lately.
So talking about food, like when do you think they discovered like curing meat with salt and that kind of stuff to preserve it? Like when do you think they started implementing that? Like
you had to bring religion back into this thing, didn't you?
No, not trying to. So they, how did they figure that out? I wonder. Curing meat and like.
From getting mad sick?
You think so? Yeah, probably. Figuring out that they had to keep it cold. And what did they do? I guess they couldn't really keep it cold, unless they lived in like, some freezing climate, like South American,
No, they smoked it, salted it,
yeah,
sugar cured it.
But how did they figure that out, man? You know, I wonder how in the heck they did that. Like, I get that, like, people got sick from eating, like, raw meat or meat that had gone bad or whatever. But, like, how did they figure out that by curing it in that way, it would then be safe to eat? I wonder.
Yeah, it's interesting. Who knows?
Brilliant minds, man, for the time.
Goes back to Adam and Eve.
Yeah. Could.
Start out as vegetarians.
Yeah.
Became meat eaters.
Well, look how much trouble eating an apple got them into. They said, "Hell with this stuff. We're gonna skip that diet and just go straight to the meat."
Okay.
Man. Yeah.
Next topic.
Yeah. What do you got, man?
I don't know. Tobacco.
Tobacco?
Yeah. What's up with
We
tobacco?
live in Virginia.
Yeah. Tobacco capital.
Yeah, big tobacco crop.
North Carolina.
Well, I mean, I don't know. A lot of tobacco is grown in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, tobacco. Tobacco.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess. Yeah.
Not good stuff. Not good for you.
Yeah. You know, talking about tobacco, Philip Morris, I heard, I don't know if this is true, I'll have to look it up, but I heard that they were going to completely abandon the tobacco industry altogether. That they were going to move to
Cannabis.
Well, yeah, cannabis. And they were still going to be in the nicotine game, though, however. They were going to just move over into, like, the vapor
Nicotine-laced
stuff.
cannabis.
No, I mean, they probably will, yeah. Just start selling spliffs, man. But, no. Yeah, no, so evidently they're that's what I heard. They're moving out of the tobacco game altogether, and they're going into, like, you know, nicotine-infused vapor, like, you know, everybody's doing these days, vaporizers and vaping instead of smoking. And they're also supposedly getting into the weed game.
Hold on a second. So you're saying a major tobacco company is going to drop tobacco?
That's what I heard.
And go into vaping.
Supposedly they're already producing.
Okay, so the only thing they're keeping is the nicotine.
Yeah, because vaping's so huge.
But there's...
So why rely on a plant like that? I mean, yeah, they're relying on...
Yeah, they're getting the nicotine, but I mean, that just defeats the whole purpose of, tobacco. Because it's not just the nicotine you're after.
Right.
You know, tobacco is cured, it's flavored, it tastes a certain way, it smells a certain way.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard.
I mean, so all they would be doing is growing tobacco to get the nicotine out of. What else puts out nicotine? Anything?
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe
produces nicotine, I should say.
Well, I mean, look at all the all the vape juice and stuff. I mean, doesn't have there's no tobacco in that. It's just nicotine.
Is there any tobacco flavored vape? Or is it just all sorts of other strange stuff?
Probably is. Mostly no, though. It's fruit flavors and candy flavors and coffee flavors. I mean,
there's people who genuinely like the flavor of tobacco.
Yeah, for sure. There are. But
I think it's all psychological. But anyway.
I think that they're probably... I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it seems wild. That's something, if anybody knows anything about it, we'll have to look it up later and check it out. But yeah, that's something that I heard. Somebody told me that. I don't know if it's true. But to me, that sounds crazy. Like... I feel like they would be missing out on a lot of money there potentially. I mean, think about how many people smoke Marlboro or whatever
for the flavor of Marlboros.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then also talking about tobacco, they just upped the age in Virginia, or it's getting ready to be implemented. I think maybe in a month or something like that. So the legal age to purchase tobacco in Virginia has been 18. For like ever, a long time. And they're bumping it up to, what, 21?
I hope so.
Is it 21?
I think it's just outlawed altogether.
I think it is 21. Outlaw what?
Tobacco.
No, I'm against that.
Yeah.
Outlaw tobacco?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not for outlawing anything. I would totally disagree on you there. Because what's next? You're going to outlaw alcohol? You're going to outlaw... No, I think the opposite. No, I think you should just legalize everything. All drugs.
Let's just outlaw everything.
No. You're being sarcastic.
Music.
No, I see.
Everything.
I totally disagree with that mindset. I think everything should be legalized. Totally legal, especially marijuana.
Heroin.
Yeah, legal.
What?
What's the purpose of making it illegal? All you're doing then is fueling a black market for cartels to make money. You know, I mean, you're not going to stop people from using it because you make it illegal. Clearly, that doesn't work. We should give up on that. You know, we should have given up on it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally think the opposite. I think we should totally, you know, like the war on drugs is ridiculous, man. It's preposterous. It's failed. Why are we still trying to
Don't get me
beat
started.
a dead horse? For real.
Don't get me started.
I'm not saying that I condone the use of heroin or any drugs like that. All I'm saying is it's not benefiting us to make it illegal. And marijuana, you know, to be classified as a class 1, you know, narcotic is absolutely insane to me.
Is it classified as a class 1 narcotic?
Yeah.
What's a class 1 narcotic anyway?
It's the same as
As
heroin
opposed
and
to-
cocaine and everything else. That's the
What other
class Schedule
classifications
1
are they?
narcotic.
I didn't even think it was a narcotic. Narcotics are derived from
No, it definitely is
poppies.
classified as one.
Okay, in the same. It's not a narcotic.
It's in the same.
Though.
So in
It's
other
not a
words,
narcotic. It might be in the same under the same laws or
that's what
whatever.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Schedule 1 drug,
Okay.
meaning, you know, and now a lot of states have like decriminalized marijuana and stuff like that to
Right.
where, you know, you can legally possess more of it up to like
Sure.
an ounce of pot or something before you
Sure.
get, you know, in trouble. Whereas, so that's interesting, but not everywhere. It's still cracked down on really hard in some places. And yeah, I mean, just the fact that you got all these people sitting in prison potentially for possessing marijuana. It's nuts.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's
I was just
stupid.
kidding about the whole
No, I know you were.
outlawing the
Yeah.
tobacco.
No,
I was
I
just
mean,
trying to-
yeah, that would be insane.
Get some people riled up.
Well, you almost got me riled up.
It was working.
The last thing I want is
As you were,
for the government to impose any new
Viciously
restrictions or
inserting
laws.
a rub between cheek
I
and gum.
I do use tobacco. Yeah.
Um,
I don't condone it though. I don't think you should use tobacco.
I'm a former tobacco user.
I know.
Yeah. I used to fall asleep with a rub in my mouth.
Yeah, at this point
How
it's
cool
like
is that?
at this point it's like I don't even really enjoy using it. It's a habit that I got to kick.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
do?
that I really don't. I don't even like using tobacco.
Yeah, so it's
Why
the,
do I do
it's
it?
the
'Cause
nicotine
I'm addicted to
addiction.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunate side effects are carcinogens. So
Yep, definitely.
same thing with cooking on the grill.
Yeah, I know. Tastes great though.
Carcinogen city.
Yeah, it is
Horrible
man.
for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are.
We just need to be eating raw vegetables all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of things
That's what our teeth were designed for.
that we enjoy that are bad for us. Why is it, man? Why is it that everything that I tend to love the most is bad for me?
It's the nature of the flesh.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, it truly is.
Yeah.
You're, yeah. Don't draw me into religion again. please.
No, I know. Everything kind of ties into it in a way there, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Good and evil. That's
I would
all.
like
That's
to
it.
get into a conversation about what I was talking about earlier as far as the legality of certain things, and we could talk about that another time. But that's an interesting topic, and I would really like to intellectually debate that whole thing with you in particular, because I know that you would. I would just be curious to hear your views and your reasoning as to why you felt that way. So we'll talk about that another time. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be an interesting conversation. And so before we end this episode, I'd like to remind you guys out there listening that if you enjoy our show, please give us a review and rate the show on iTunes. It helps us out big time.
Absolutely. We appreciate those of you who have been listening, and we hope you enjoy the content as much as we enjoy bringing it to you.
Hey, if you made it this far, thanks so much for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed the show.
Stay grimy.